3 states to hide your plane that speculators haven't found yet. Let me begin with something that sounds strange, but matters more every year. This video is not about hiding your airplane from the government. It's not about avoiding taxes, and it's not about secrecy. It's about preserving aviation as a lifestyle, not a commodity. Because somewhere along the way, general aviation stopped being just flying and started being priced, traded, parked, and speculated on. If you're a senior pilot, if you're a newer owner, if you're just beginning to look at airplanes like a Cessna 172 Skyhawk, Piper PA-28 Cherokee, Beechcraft Musketeer Sundowner, or even something more capable like a Cirrus SR-22 or Piper PA-46 Malibu, where you base your airplane may shape your entire ownership experience. Stay with me. This is one of the most overlooked decisions in aviation. Over the last 10 to 15 years, something subtle has happened. Airplanes didn't suddenly become better investments. Hangars did. Airports near large metro areas turned into parking lots for capital. Tie-downs became scarce. Hangar waitlists turned into decade-long promises. And the people who suffered most? Not the wealthy jet owners, not the speculators. It was the quiet owner, the person who just wanted to fly. Let me paint a picture. You finally buy your airplane. Maybe it's a Piper Cherokee 140, honest, forgiving, familiar. Maybe it's a Cessna 182 Skylane, capable, confident, practical. Maybe it's a Bonanza G36, something you worked toward for years. You imagine weekend flights, cross-country trips, a relaxed relationship with flying. Then reality hits. No hangars available, tie-down fees rising, ramp congestion, insurance concerns, neighbors who don't fly but store airplanes. Flying becomes complicated before you ever leave the ground. Now here's the question I want you to consider early. Is aviation supposed to feel rushed? Think about that and tell me your thoughts in the comments. There are still places where aviation hasn't been financialized, places where airplanes are not rare objects, places where flying is still normal. Today we're talking about 3 US states where that reality still exists, quietly. Not perfect, not glamorous, but deeply functional. Let's start with the first. State 1, Wyoming. Wyoming doesn't try to sell itself. No marketing campaigns for aviation lifestyle, no glossy airport developments, no luxury hangar communities. And that's exactly why it works. Wyoming is built on distance. Long drives, wide skies, sparse population. Airports here exist because they're necessary. That single fact changes everything. In Wyoming, aviation isn't aspirational. It's practical. A Cessna 182 Skylane isn't a dream airplane here. It's transportation. A Piper PA-28 Cherokee isn't a weekend toy. It's how someone checks on property. A Beechcraft Bonanza G36 isn't showing off. It's efficiency. And because airplanes are tools, they're treated like tools. They're flown. They're maintained. They're not hoarded. Hangars are built to be used, not admired. Speculators hate Wyoming for one simple reason. There's no exit strategy, no rapid appreciation, no artificial scarcity. If you buy a hangar here, you own a hangar, not a lottery ticket, and that keeps prices grounded. There's another subtle advantage: community visibility. In Wyoming, if your airplane hasn't moved in weeks, someone notices. If you stop flying, people ask questions, not out of judgment, but concern. That social fabric keeps airplanes alive. For senior pilots, this matters. A quiet airport where people know you is often safer than a busy one where no one does. Let me pause here. Would you rather be anonymous or known at your home airport? Drop your answer in the comments. Now, Wyoming isn't easy. Winter is real. Weather demands respect. Distances are long. But that difficulty filters the culture. People who base airplanes here tend to be intentional, and intentional owners are almost always happier owners. State 2, West Virginia. This is the state most people don't expect. West Virginia doesn't show up on aviation trend lists. It doesn't host flashy fly-ins. It doesn't dominate Instagram feeds. And that's precisely why speculators missed it. West Virginia is defined by terrain, mountains, valleys, weather that changes quickly. That scares spreadsheets. But pilots understand terrain, and pilots who base airplanes here tend to be engaged. Walk a ramp in West Virginia, and you'll see airplanes with stories. Cessna 177 Cardinals with faded paint but perfect logs. Piper Comanches flown by owners who know every bolt. Cessna 210 Centurions that still travel because someone respects them. These are not showpieces, they're companions. Hangars here are modest, fees are reasonable, and nobody is rushing you. Speculation thrives on urgency. West Virginia has none. Things move slowly and deliberately. That slowness protects aviation culture. Here's something worth reflecting on. In West Virginia, weather forces planning. You don't just go up for a quick flight, you brief, you look ahead, you think. That tends to attract owners who care deeply about flying, not just owning. Let me ask you something important. Do you believe challenging environments create better pilots? Tell me what you think. There's also a human factor here. Airports are small. People talk. Mechanics know owners by name. If you're flying a Piper Saratoga or a Cessna 182 Skylane, you're not just another tail number. You're part of the place. And for senior pilots, especially newcomers, that sense of belonging matters more than speed or glass panels. State 3, New Mexico. Now let's go west, but quietly. New Mexico occupies a strange and wonderful middle ground. High elevation, dry climate, huge airspace, and yet remarkably little speculation. Why? Because it doesn't fit the usual narrative. Speculators chase Florida for weather. They chase Arizona for desert prestige. They chase Texas for volume. New Mexico offers none of that, and all of the benefits. The dry air is kind to airplanes. Corrosion slows dramatically. Paint lasts longer. Interiors age better. Engines live easier lives. For long-term ownership, that matters enormously. You'll see a wide mix of aircraft here. Cessna 172 Skyhawks flying real cross-country trips. Piper PA-18 Super Cubs working remote strips. Diamond DA-40 Stars enjoying smooth high-altitude air. These airplanes aren't rushed. They're not fighting congestion. They're not waiting in line. They're flying. Another overlooked benefit? Airspace. In New Mexico, you have room to think, room to train, room to explore, room to make mistakes safely. For newer pilots, especially those starting later in life, that breathing room is invaluable. Let me ask you, do you value empty airspace more than airport amenities? That's a real trade-off. Tell me where you stand. Now let's step back. This video is not arguing that popular aviation states are bad. Florida, California, Texas, they're incredible places to fly. But popularity has consequences. When too many people treat airplanes as assets instead of tools, friction appears. Costs rise, patience drops, flying becomes secondary. Quiet states don't eliminate problems, but they reduce pressure. And pressure is what pushes people out of aviation, especially senior pilots who didn't come here to compete, but to enjoy. Let's talk briefly about airplane categories in this context. If you're flying something simple, like a Cessna 150, Piper Cherokee 140, or Grumman AA-1, quiet states protect your joy. You're not pressured to upgrade. You're not judged for flying slow. You're not invisible. If you're flying something more capable, a Cirrus SR-22, Piper Malibu, or even an Epic E1000GX, these states lower stress and overhead. Less congestion, less noise, literally and figuratively, more actual flying. Here's a truth many owners discover too late. Where you base your airplane often determines how often you fly, how relaxed you feel, how long you stay in aviation. Speculation-driven airports don't force you out directly. They exhaust you. Let me ask you something personal. If you were starting over today, would you choose the busiest airport or the calmest one? And if you're already based somewhere quiet, what keeps you there? Share as much as you're comfortable with in the comments. These conversations help more people than you realize. Let's bring this home. You don't need to hide your airplane. You just need to place it where aviation still makes sense, where flying is normal, where airplanes are used, where people remember why this all started. Wyoming, West Virginia, New Mexico. Not perfect, not flashy, but still honest. And in modern aviation, honesty is rare and valuable. Thanks for staying with me. I'll see you in the next one.